everyone, welcome to another Procreate tutorial. This is the drawing that we will be completing in today's video. If you are new here, I mainly post Procreate tutorials, so if that is something you're interested in, go ahead and subscribe. Otherwise, before we get started, you will need to download the color palette, a custom brush, and a special font that we will be using in today's video. They are totally free to download. I have them linked in the description below. For the color palette, just double tap the file that downloads and it'll automatically open in Procreate and save it to your color palette so that you can use the same colors as you follow along with the video today. For your brush, you will open up your brush library, and then wherever you want to save the new brush to, maybe you have a special custom folder, go ahead and click the plus icon at the top and then click import and find the font wherever you saved it. And then for the font, a similar thing, you can add a layer of text, click to edit your text, triple tap it, and then click this to open up the menu and click import font and find the font where you saved it. Alternatively, wherever the font is saved on your iPad, you can click on it, click to open it with Procreate, and it will import that way as well. I will also post the canvas dimensions, color profile, and layers needed on the screen here so that you can use those to set up your canvas. So take a minute to get everything ready and then come back and we will get started. Okay, first things first, this is our color palette that we will be working with today. So we are just going to go ahead and jump right into it. The first thing that we will do is set our background color. So we will go to our layer menu and we will first set this background color layer at the very bottom. So click on it to open up the color selector and select the first color on the first row of our color palette to set it to that color. And then essentially we're just going to be drawing everything kind of in parts. So we'll draw the shelf first, and then we'll draw the love potion, and then the book, and then the vase with the flower, and then add some finishing touches at the end. So first things first, we will draw the shelf. So we are going to do that on layer 1 here. We're going to grab our third color on the top row of our color palette, and we are going to grab the selection tool with rectangle and color fill turned on. And we're just going to start kind of somewhere over on the left side here, not all the way at the edge. But we're just right about here. Draw a nice good rectangle about like this. And then go ahead and let that go to let that fill in. Go ahead and grab our arrow tool. We are going to turn on snapping in the bottom left. And essentially we want our shelf to be a little bit left of center so that we can see the right bottom side of it as well. We'll kind of make it look a little more 3D on that side. So we don't want it to be perfectly in the center. So you can find this center yellow line, the vertical line that shows that we're centered from left to right. And then just go over just a little bit from there, about like so. But if you need to resize it or anything, this is also a good time to do so. You can do uniform or freeform if you want to change the shape at all, make it wider, taller, anything like that, or uniform if you just want to adjust the size as is. But again, just if you resize it, go ahead and find center again and just make sure we're to the left of that just a little bit. And then we also just want to be about right here on our page in terms of placing from top to bottom. So we want a good amount of room underneath it to add like a shadow, but we also want more room on top to draw our object. So somewhere about in here, like so. And then we'll go ahead and just turn off our arrow tool. And then now to make it look more 3D, we are going to go to our layer menu, make a duplicate of this rectangle layer by sliding left and hitting duplicate. Grab the bottom one that pops up. And we are going to grab the 5th color on the top row of our color palette, this darkest brown. And we're going to drag and drop to fill that in. You won't see it because it's in the background behind our top layer. That's the color that's showing, but you can see on your layer menu that this bottom one is darker. So now we are going to grab our arrow tool and we are just going to drag it down and to the right a little bit, like so that it's popping out a ways. And then to make it look like it's attached to our front rectangle here, we are going to use the same color, the 5th one on the top row, and our monoline brush under the calligraphy tab. set to about 10%. And we are going to zoom in on the bottom left corner here. So to connect our darker one to our lighter one, draw a line, hold it down until it turns into a perfectly straight line. Go ahead and click this line button at the top if you need to edit it, and just kind of move it around so that it's placed nicely here to kind of make your corners meet up very smoothly. Then go ahead and grab your brush and fill the rest of this little bit in, like so. Then we'll do the same thing on the other corner over here. Hold it down, click edit at the top, line it up, and go ahead and fill it in. If you have any that's like sticking out, you can use your eraser as well and just kind of clean it up a little bit if you need to, but from far away you shouldn't be able to tell if it's a little teeny bit off. Like so. So now we have a nice like 3D shelf. So now we're going to add a shadow to it while we're here, because we're going to use a copy of this layer that we drew our lines on. So we want our shadow to essentially look the same. So we'll go to our layer menu, make a duplicate of this bottom rectangle layer that we were just on, grab the bottom one again, grab the next color in line, the 6th one on the top row, and again, drag and drop that to fill it in. You shouldn't be able to see it yet, but you'll see it on the layer menu here that it is a different color. We are going to click on the N on this layer and drag it up to multiply. That is going to give us a nice shadow color. And we're going to grab our arrow tool and again move it down and to the right. And we're just going to kind of try to line it up similarly so that it almost creates like a perfectly straight line on each side. So just kind of move it around until it lines up nicely with our previous line. So it's kind of one big seamless shape like so. But then to make it look more shadow-like, we're going to blur the layer a little bit. So we are going to click the wand icon, click Gaussian blur, and we're just going to drag this up to maybe somewhere between 7 and 10%. So that gives us a nice shadow. We'll add more shadows later, but we wanted to add that one first so that we could use the same kind of shape that we had already. So now we're just going to add some more details to our shelf. So the first thing we're going to do is add a little bit of highlight to this top rectangle layer in front here. So we'll find that layer, the very top one on our layer menu, click on it and set it to alpha lock. And then we are going to grab the 4th color on the top row, the lighter brown in there. Switch our brush to the soft brush under the airbrushing category. Set that to about 15%. And I'm just going to very lightly drag this across the top of my rectangle here to create a little bit of a lighter color there, kind of like a highlight. The light will be coming from the top left of our page. So we just want a nice highlight there at the top. Okay, and now that that is done, we are going to go to our layer menu and we're going to merge these top 2 layers together. So our big rectangle layer in front and then our darker one in the back. So snap those 2 layers together with your fingers on the layer menu so that they're all on one layer. Then we are going to add the wood grain texture to our shelf. And to do so, we are going to add a new layer above this rectangle layer. Click the N on the layer to open up the menu, and again we are going to select multiply at the top so that we get a nice darker color all the way around. And then we are going to click on this layer and set it to a clipping mask so that we only draw inside our shelf shape here. And then the color that we're going to use is going to again be this 6th color on the top row that we used for our other shadow. And this is where we are going to use our fancy special brush that you should have downloaded. So find that brush wherever you downloaded it, the wood grain vertical brush. And essentially this brush moves in whatever direction your canvas is in, and it'll always be vertical. So like right now, the way that our canvas is set up, if we were to start drawing, it makes a vertical wood grain and we want it to be horizontal. So we're just going to turn our canvas until our shelf is vertical like so. And then with our brush set to maybe 50%, I am just going to start drawing at the bottom left corner here and draw the wood grain vertically all the way up, including on this bottom darker portion, but just until we get to this edge here, and then we're going to kind of stop the wood grain there so that we can turn it a little bit and in different directions. So then with the angle of this side of our shelf here, we are going to turn it just a little bit so that we're kind of matching that angle, and then we will draw just a little bit on the edge. If you need to lower the size of your brush, you can. It doesn't lower the wood grain itself, just the amount of room that you cover. So I might angle it a little bit further, like so. Okay, so that gives us our wood grain on our shelf, and that is the last step for our shelf, so we will move on now. Okay, so next up we are going to draw the love potion. Okay, so we will add a new layer to our layer menu, but we will actually just drag it to the very bottom of all of our layers right above our background color layer so that our shelf kind of cuts off the bottom of our love potion. So we are going to add our layer there. We're going to grab the first color on the second row of the color palette, and we are going to go back to our monoline brush under the calligraphy tab at 10%. And the first thing we're going to do is turn on symmetry. We will turn on symmetry to help us draw a nice, perfect, symmetrical bottle shape. So to do that, we are going to go to the gear icon in the top left corner. Under Canvas, click to turn on the drawing guide, and then click Edit Drawing Guide, and select the symmetry option. You should see a vertical line. If you do not, you might need to go under your options here and select vertical. Otherwise, just go ahead and click done. And the main thing we want to double check is that this layer now says assisted on it. If it does not, click on it and turn on drawing assist, but we do want it to say assisted to show that symmetry is active on this layer. Okay, and we are just going to start here. We'll start above our shelf and we'll move it later to be more below our shelf, but we'll just kind of start and we'll draw it in the middle here, even though we'll eventually place it on the left side. So I'm just going to start right smack dab in the middle, right on my line, just a little ways above my shelf, and draw a straight line over. Hold it down, touch your finger to the screen to make it perfectly horizontal, and this will be the base of our bottle. So nothing too terribly big, maybe just about to here. Let that go. And then we are going to start right at the end of the line here and draw up and to the right a little bit. Hold it down until it turns perfectly straight. And just kind of pick an angle that you like. Nothing too up and down and nothing too wide, just kind of nicely in the middle here, like so. And again, not out too far, just a short line. Again, you can click the line button at the top if you need to edit it. So if you need to make the lines connect more nicely at the base here, you can drag that around. You can adjust the angle and the length as well. So just find something that you like there, and then go ahead and grab our brush again. And now again, we'll start at this end of this line, draw up and towards the middle a lot longer this time, and hold that down again. So this is going to be, you know, the main side of our bottle here. So again, find a good angle, nice and long, end it with still a good gap at the top here, like so. And again, you can click the line button at the top to edit it if you need to either adjust where the lines meet or adjust the angle or length, you can do so. And then again, grab our brush tool, and starting at the top of this line, now we're going to draw a line straight up. Hold it down, touch your finger to the screen to make it perfectly vertical, just a little bit here to just kind of make the neck of our bottle. So go ahead and let that go. And then lastly, we will draw another line straight across at the top, hold it down, touch your finger to the screen to make it perfectly horizontal. Again, you can click the line button to adjust it so that it meets very nicely at the top there. And now you should have a complete shape, so we will go ahead and drag and fill that in. Okay, so next, while we still have symmetry turned on, we're going to make the little top rounded part of our bottle at the top. And we are going to do that on a new layer. So we'll add a new layer, click on this layer and turn on Drawing Assist. And now we are going to make the little rounded top. So the first thing we're going to do is just start on the top right corner of the bottle here where the corner is. Draw a little circle, hold it down, touch your finger to the screen to make it a perfect circle, like so. It should just be kind of right on the edge here. You can click the circle button at the top to adjust it, but I'm just gonna bring it right here so it's just off the edge a little bit. And then I'm going to make a straight line going across the top. Hold it down, touch your finger to the screen to make it perfectly horizontal. Again, you can click edit at the top if you need to adjust it at all, but we want it to line up nice and seamlessly across the tops of our circles here, like so. And then we're going to do the same thing at the bottom, but right now I can't really see the bottom with my other shape in the way. So I'm going to click the arrow tool, drag it up a little bit, keeping it on this vertical yellow line to show that it's perfectly in the center still. Then I will grab my brush again and draw this line across the bottom. Again, hold it down and touch your finger to the screen to make it perfectly horizontal. Edit if you need to at the top to adjust it at all. And then we're going to fill in all the shapes so that this is nicely filled in as well. Then we're going to click our arrow tool and drag it down to meet the top of our bottle, keeping it centered on our vertical yellow line, and then overlapping the top of the bottle just a little bit so that they're nicely melded together there, like so. Okay, so now to get the bottle to look more glass-like, we are going to simply lower the opacity of these different layers. So we'll start with our main bottle layer. So find that on the layer menu, click the N on this layer to open up the options, and we will drag the opacity down pretty far on this one to maybe 45%. We will grab the next one, the oval on the top, and we will click the N on that one and lower that one down to maybe 70%. And then the biggest thing here is that we have this little overlap here where it gets to be a darker white, where they meet and overlap, and we don't want that. So, and the cleanest way to fix this to get a nice good shape like we have now is going to be to erase the part that overlaps from our bottom layer. So to do that, we are going to go to the layer menu. We are going to, on this little oval layer that we have at the top, be on that layer, click on it and click select. Go ahead and turn off color fill, and you should see diagonal lines all the way outside of our shape, and everything inside is just plain. So that shows that the inside of this is selected. We will go to our layer menu and switch back to our main bottle layer underneath, and we still have our little oval shape selected. But then we'll click our eraser tool and we will just erase the part at the very top here. You'll see it disappear underneath our other layer, so they're not overlapping anymore. And then we can go ahead and click the selection tool to turn that off. So that just kind of erases it so that nothing is overlapping between our two shapes. Okay, next we will add some more details to our glass. So we are going to just add some little streaks that would be like the front edges of our bottle where the shape changes. So we are going to do that on a new layer right above this one that we're on. So right in between our two layers that we have so far. Click on this layer, turn on Drawing Assist so that we can use symmetry again. We are going to still be on our monoline brush at 10%, still on our white color. And I'm just going to start kind of right at the bottom of this neck of the bottle. So right where our angle starts, I'm going to start right about there, just a little bit right of our center line. And I'm just going to draw a line going down towards this bottom angle. So kind of, in that same direction. I'm not going all the way down, leaving a little bit of space at the bottom, like so. So that just kind of adds some more definition to our bottle shape. But again, I'm going to lower the opacity on this so it's not so bright. So click on your layer menu to open this up. And we will again drag this down to maybe 60%. Okay, so that's it for all those bottle details. So next we are just going to make the liquid inside, and then we'll make our little heart-shaped stopper and our label. So first for the liquid, we are going to make a duplicate of this bottle shape so that we don't have to redraw it. So we will go to our layer menu, find this layer, slide to the left and hit duplicate. And we want our liquid to be right here. So we want it above our main white outline layer, but below our little white detail layers. We don't want to put it behind our white bottle shape, even though that would be the typical way that you would see it, but we don't want it to be too faded. So we are going to leave it on top. So let's go ahead and fill in this layer with our liquid color. So that's going to be the second one on the second row. So find that color and drag and drop it to fill in our bottle. But then let's go ahead and go to our layer menu and click the N on this layer and drag it up to 100% so that we get a nice bright color. Okay, now we will click our arrow tool. We will set it to uniform and we will downsize it a little bit and then recenter it on our center line. So resize it a little bit, recenter it, and essentially we just want roughly the same amount of our white showing all the way around at the bottom. At the top here, doesn't matter, there's not much showing, but we'll get rid of most of that. So just anything kind of below this halfway point. So this side, and the bottom, we want to look roughly about the same in terms of how much white is showing. And again, just make sure that we're still centered on our yellow line, like so. So that is about where we want to leave it. And then we are going to click on our layer on this layer menu and turn off drawing assist so that symmetry is no longer active. We are going to grab our eraser tool now, also set to the monoline brush. We'll set it to 100%. And I'm just going to erase a nice curve roughly halfway up the bottle. Hold it down till it turns perfectly smooth, and then you can edit it at the top if you would like to. So my eraser line goes a little bit higher on the right side than the left side, which is fine. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm going to have it go a little higher on that side, but everything below here will stay. Everything above here will go away. So just kind of adjust it and place it where you would like to. And then the easiest way to get rid of the rest of this is to click our selection tool, set it to automatic, and touch this top section to highlight it. Zoom out, click the arrow tool, and drag it off of our canvas. Then when you click the arrow tool again, this is everything that's left. So you still might need to do a teeny bit of erasing here. Sometimes there's just a little ghost of a line that's left from where it didn't quite pick everything up. So just make sure it's erased really nicely until we're left with this. So this is going to be the start of our liquid. So the first thing that we're going to do is add some highlights and shadows to this. So on our layer menu on this layer, click on it and turn on alpha lock. Grab the next color on our second row, so the third one in line, and switch our brush again back to our soft brush under the airbrushing category. And we will set this to still about 15%. And I'm just going to focus this on the bottom right area, kind of in a curvy motion as well, to kind of match the curve that we have on the top here, like so. So to add a little bit of a shadow there. Grab the next color in line, the fourth one on the second row, and do the same thing in the top left area to add just a little bit of a highlight there. Okay, and then now we will add our bubbles. So we will do that on this same layer. We will grab the next color in line, the fifth one on the second row. Switch back to our monoline brush under the calligraphy tab. We'll up the size to maybe 30%. And we are just going to make some little circles to look like bubbles. So just make a circular shape, hold it down, touch your fingers to the screen to make it a perfect circle. Set the size, fill it in if necessary. You know, we'll make just varying sizes. Sometimes even just like a little dot or two, like so. And for bubbles, I just kind of try to keep them in like clusters. I don't really just do like single ones that often. I'll just kind of make little clusters throughout just because I feel like that's how they look more natural. like so. So just a few little sections of bubbles. And then to finish off our liquid, we need to draw the shape in the back that kind of makes it look 3D. So we are going to do that on a new layer. So add a new layer, drag it below our current liquid layer, so right above our white shape. Grab the darker pink, the third one on the second row, same monoline brush. We'll drop our size back down to about 10%. And I'm just essentially going to make a curvy line from one side to the other. So I'll start here and we'll make kind of a curvy line like so. So I'll do it a little faster to make it a little smoother. Okay, and then you can erase some parts that got on the outside as well. So again, just take your time to make sure it meets up nicely at each corner. And then we will go ahead and just kind of draw a line across the bottom underneath our other shape so that we can fill in any other little spaces. And that completes our little liquid area. Okay, so next up, let's go ahead and make our stopper at the top because we will use symmetry for that and it'll be a similar concept to what we just did. So we are going to add a new layer right above our lines here underneath our little white oval. Click on this layer and turn on Drawing Assist and grab the 6th color on the second row, our first kind of beigey color. Same monoline brush at 10%. And we are going to zoom in at the top of our bottle here. And the first thing we're going to do is essentially just draw a circle on the right side. Hold it down, touch your finger to the screen to make it a perfect circle. And then go ahead and click the circle button at the top to edit it. And essentially we just want it kind of up a little ways from the top of our bottle here. And then we want the circles to maybe intersect in the middle just a little bit. This is going to be the top of our heart shape. So I do have the circles go out about as far as the side of the top of this bottle here. So kind of meeting up there, like so. Then we'll grab our brush tool again and we will make a small circle at the bottom right in the center. Essentially just kind of right underneath the little lip of our bottle here. And even though symmetry is turned on, if we just kind of have them overlap, so it just looks like one seamless circle, like so. Then we'll grab our brush tool again and we will connect these two together with a slightly curved line. So I'll start kind of on the bottom left side of this circle here, draw a slightly curved line to meet our bottom circle. Click the edit button on the side if you want to adjust it at all and just make sure it meets up nicely with all of our shapes. And then go ahead and fill everything in, like so. Okay, now that it's done, I'm just going to click my arrow tool, set it to uniform, increase the size a little, and just kind of place it nicely in the bottle here, keeping it on my center yellow line, but just so it fits more nicely in the top here, like so. Now we'll add like the little spots to our cork to make it look like a cork. And so we will go to our layer menu on this layer, click on it and turn on alpha lock, click on it again and turn off Drawing Assist so that we're not using symmetry anymore. Grab the darker color, the next one in line, 7th on the second row, and same monoline brush at 10%, and we are just going to make more circles. Hold them down, touch your finger to the screen to make them perfect circles. Drag and drop to fill them in. If yours overfills like this, just go ahead and when you drag and drop, hold your pen on the screen and then slide to the left until it just fills in the area that you would like it to. So then we'll just kind of make some random sporadic little circles all the way around of varying sizes. Some going off the edges is fine. like so. So that is it for our little heart-shaped cork at the top. And then finally we will add the label. So to do that, we will go to our layer menu. We will add a new layer. Just right above our cork is fine. Grab our white color again, the first one on the second row. And we will grab our selection tool with rectangle and color fill turned on. And we will just make a straight rectangle from the left side here, just kind of in the middle, right over our potion part, all the way across the right side, in kind of the same, going about the same area. So past our white lines, a little bit like so. Click the arrow tool, set it to freeform or uniform if you want to adjust the size at all. I'm just going to make mine a little bit wider from top to bottom. And then mainly we just want to center it on our center yellow line as best we can. Okay, and then to make our label look like it's kind of following the shape of our bottle, for instance, these lines here indicate that the bottle kind of, has an edge right there and it changes direction. I'm going to zoom in on the right side here. So in order to make this right part of the label look like it's contouring to our bottle and going around this edge here where our line is, we're going to select this little bit outside of this line and adjust the shape of it. So to do that, we are going to grab our selection tool, set it to freehand, color fill turned off, and we are going to first tap on this line on the top part outside of our rectangle. So just make a tap there to make a dot. Do the same thing on the bottom here where the line is outside of our shape, tap to make another dot, and then go out to the right outside of our shape, and then up and over again to the beginning to just select this whole area here. Click the arrow tool to select it and set it to distort. And essentially we want to make this side of the rectangle match this side of the bottle, the same angle. So to do that, we are first going to take the top right corner and move it up and to the left a little bit. Take the bottom right corner, move it down, move it to the right a little bit and up as well until we kind of match this angle here. So just make some adjustments, between both of these two corners here. We don't want to make it way longer than our original rectangle is, so just kind of try to keep that in mind. So try to make it about the same size from top to bottom. And then once you have that kind of set nicely where it kind of matches that angle here, the main thing we want to do is just make sure that these are still all connected. So we'll take the bottom left corner, drag it down and to the left until it matches up with our previous, piece of our label there. And then same with the top left, there's just a teeny gap there, so I'll just drag that over. Okay, then we can click our arrow and just kind of zoom out, and now you can see it kind of contours in that same direction. So then we'll do the same thing on the left side. The symmetry doesn't work for this, you kind of have to do them both separately. So again, we'll zoom in on the left side with our selection tool, tap on the top on our line, tap on the bottom on our line, go out and around and back to the beginning. Click our arrow tool, and again, we'll first do our top left on distort, our top left corner, drag that up a little bit and to the right a little bit, drag the bottom corner up and to the left a little bit, and just kind of vice versa until we get a nice angle there that matches the angle of our bottle here. And then we'll drag our bottom right corner down to meet our original one. In the top right corner as well, just to make sure there's no gap, like so. Then we'll zoom out, and as you can see, that looks a lot better and looks like it matches the shape of our bottle. So if there's any gaps or any issues, go ahead and use your pen tool or eraser tool to fix it. Like here, I just kind of have a little bit of an issue there. Okay, so now we can add our text. So to do that, we will just click the gear icon and click add, and then click add text. We don't have to add a new layer or anything, it already adds it on a new layer. So the first thing I'm going to do, my text is already selected, I'm going to just click the color picker and select our black color, the last one on the second row, 8th in line, to set it to black. Then I will go ahead and click my keyboard down here to type in love, enter potion. Then I will triple tap it to select everything so that I can click this area up here to open up our font selector. And we will select our flowers text that you should have downloaded, or you can select any other text that you would like to use. And with this flowers text, the leading is really weird in between the lines, so we do need to increase that a bit. And we'll increase the tracking between our letters just a little bit as well, down the size a little bit, and just keep adjusting till it's about where we like it. It's also best at this time maybe to click our arrow tool and drag it down to where it's actually going to be, and then go ahead and do some more adjusting. So I will just adjust it on uniform now, drag it down a little bit, maybe click freeform and drag it out a little bit to kind of space it out some more and make it wider. So just adjust it to where you want it and place it like so on the center of our label here. If you can snap it to that center yellow line, that would be great, but mine isn't working much anymore with all of the layers that we have going on. Okay, and then finally we will add a new layer and we will draw our hearts. So we will use the same black color, the 8th one on the second row, same monoline brush at 10%. And I'm just going to zoom in on the right side here. I'm going to kind of angle my canvas a little bit to kind of match the angle of this side of the label here. And I am just going to draw 3 hearts, a big one at the bottom, and then smaller as I get, and then smaller as I go up. So just kind of draw hearts however you like to draw them. They don't have to be anything too crazy, just very simple. So I just did 3 there on that side, and then I'm going to go to my layer menu and make a duplicate of it so that our other side is identical. So I'm going to slide to the left and hit duplicate, click the arrow tool, click flip horizontal to get them to be the same angle so that we don't have to do any rotating, and then you should just be able to drag them over and place them on the left side. If you need to rotate them at all, I might rotate mine just a teeny bit. Go ahead and do so, but just place them on the opposite side. And then now to save some layers, I will just snap these 2 heart layers together so that they're all on one layer. If you want to snap them with your text as well, you can do so. You can snap all of the label layers together even so they're all on one layer, just the whole label, but then you can't do any editing to it later, the text or otherwise. So make sure you like the way things are looking, but feel free to snap some stuff together. You don't want to snap any of these like opacity layers together because that will mess them up. But you can snap like your 2 liquid layers together as well. Stuff like that. So that is just to kind of help save layers as we go. But now that everything is kind of laid out, I'm going to group these together as well. So I will select the bottommost bottle layer, slide right on every layer above it that goes with our bottle. So the top one should be our little white oval. So slide right on all of those so they're all selected, then go ahead and click group so that they are all together in one group. And now we can minimize that group so that we don't have to look at all those layers. And then with this group selected, we can click our arrow tool and we can move it around all together. I might switch it to uniform and just downsize it a little bit as well, so you can do a little resizing while we're here. But then we're just going to kind of place it right about at the top of our shelf here. We don't want a gap though, so that's why we placed it behind our shelf. So if you need to move it a little bit below like the top of your shelf, that is okay as well. But so it should just be sitting right about there on the left side here. Okay, so next up is our book. So we are done with symmetry for now, but we can leave it on because we will use it again later, but just ignore the line for now. So let's go to our layer menu though and add a new layer to start our book on. So above our potion layers, still below our shelf layers. And essentially we are just going to grab the first color on the second row, our bright white, grab our selection tool with a rectangle and color filter turned on, and we are just going to draw a nice rectangle to be our book. So a nice long rectangle right above our shelf, kind of to fill in this right side of space, about like so, and then let that go to fill it in. Click the arrow tool and you can adjust it if you would like to. I might make mine a little skinnier and a little bit wider this way. Okay, and then with our same white color selected and our monoline brush at 10%, I'm just going to zoom in on the left side here of the book, and I am just going to start at the top corner, make a slightly curved line out, and then meet at the bottom corner. Hold it down until it turns into a perfectly smooth line. Go ahead and click the arc button at the top to edit it, and you can just adjust it a little bit if you need to. I just want a nice little curve at the top there, like so. Fill in any gaps. And then to make kind of a matching curve at the bottom, we are going to grab our eraser tool, also set to the monoline brush at 10%, and do the same thing just in eraser form. So start at the top corner, erase a curved line to the bottom corner, hold it down, click edit at the top to edit the arc a little bit to make it a little shallower, but again, make sure it meets up nicely at the corners, and then grab your eraser tool to erase anything else. Okay, and then now we're going to click our arrow tool and we are just going to nestle this nicely on our shelf here so there's no gap showing. Go ahead and just drag it slightly below it if you need to get rid of any gap there. So we're going to place it there first so that we can work on this bottom section that will be showing, that kind of shows our pages. So we are going to zoom in on the right side here where we did our eraser curve. And we are going to go to our layer menu, add a new layer, drag it below our white book spine layer here. And this is where we'll draw the illusion of our pages. So grab the first color on the last row of our color palette, same monoline brush at 10%. And we are just going to start on this top right corner, draw a line pretty much straight across, hold it down, and we're going to just angle it just slightly downwards. And then this is about the length that we will extend it, which is about going to be the length of our, pages that are showing. If you need to click edit at the top to adjust it and make sure it meets up nicely or change the angle or length at all, go ahead and do so. But again, just angled slightly down. Click our brush tool again, and right where the end of this line is, we're going to draw a line straight up and down, hold it down, touch your finger to the screen to make it perfectly vertical, and extend it below our shelf here, like so. And then we're just going to kind of connect it to our first line behind our book spine and our shelf here to fill that in. Okay, and then we're going to click on our layer menu, and on this layer here that we just created, click on it and turn on alpha lock. Grab the second color on the last row of our color palette, the slightly darker color, and we're just going to do a similar thing to essentially create the pages now. So we're going to leave a gap of our regular color here at the top. That's going to be like the cover that you can see. So go down a little bit on the right side, outside of our shape, draw a line straight in, hold it down until it turns perfectly straight, and then just kind of match that angle at the top. We're not going all the way in here. So click edit line at the top and just kind of adjust it, but essentially we want to leave a gap of this lighter color showing at the top, match our lines so that they're kind of at the same angle, and then leave a good chunk on the left side showing as well. So we only extend our line in about this far. Click our brush tool again, and then starting at this point inside on this line, we're going to draw another curved line, hold it down till it turns perfectly smooth, and then click edit at the top. And again, we're just going to kind of match the arc of the spine of our book that we erased here, the white arc here, with this darker color. We're just going to kind of match that as best we can, and then go all the way down through where our shelf is. Then we'll grab our brush again, and we're just going to fill in this whole area here whether you color drop it or just fill it in with your brush. Like so. So this kind of creates the illusion that this is our cover, and then this is like the inside of our spine, and then these are our pages. So if you need to do any more adjusting, you can go ahead and select this lighter color, and you can kind of touch up on the outside. If you need to make that part thicker or anything, you can do so. Otherwise, that is it for the side of our book. We will add a shadow next to it so that it will kind of pop a little bit more, because right now it kind of blends in with our background, but we will add a shadow there later that will help us be able to see that better. Okay, so now we're going to add some details to our book spine. So let's go back to this layer, the white one. Click on it and set it to alpha lock. Grab the third color on the last row of our color palette, and we're going to make some more curvy lines here again to add just kind of some details to the side of our book. So we're going to add one big pink stripe at the top and two smaller stripes at the bottom. The left side is the top, the right side is the bottom. So we'll start on the left side here. So just a little ways in from the top of our book, we are just going to make another slightly curved line, hold it down, adjust it if you need to. Otherwise, I'm just going to leave another gap, draw another slightly curved line, hold it down, go ahead and fill in between it. We'll do the same thing at the bottom. I'm going to do two smaller stripes. So I'll start with the one closer to the bottom. So I'll leave a gap at the bottom, draw a curved line, hold it down, leave a smaller space, curved line, hold it down, fill that in, curved line, hold it down, curved line, hold it down, and fill that in. Okay, and then we're just going to add one more little darker pink line through that, which is going to be the next color, the fourth one on the bottom row. So just grab that color, same brush, same layer, and we're just going to draw a line through these, kind of matching that same curve. So click the arc button at the top if you need to adjust it at all. But we're just going to add that to each one of these. You can also just adjust the placement of it. If you're not quite in the middle of any of these lines, you can click the arc button at the top to edit it and just kind of change where they're placed. And then we will add two to this one. So we'll add one closer to the bottom, not quite that close. And then one kind of closer to the top. Okay, so that is it for like the little decorations. So now we're just going to add the text to it, which is just going to say love spells. So again, we'll do that the same way we did our other one. So we'll just click the gear icon, click add, and click add text. It already pops up, it's already selected. We will first change the color. So grab the color selector and select the black color, the 8th one on the second row. And now with our text selected still, I will click the keyboard icon, and we are just going to do all caps, and we are going to do LOVE space SPELLS, and you can use any font that you would like. We are going to use a different font for this one, so I'm going to triple tap it to be able to select this font area and open up our menu here. And we are going to select this Moonflower Bold font. Go ahead and increase the size. Decrease the tracking a little bit to get the letters a little closer together. And then go ahead and click your arrow tool. And again, it's just kind of easier to sometimes move it down here and see how it fits, and then adjust the size when you get there. So go ahead and place that there. Again, use a different font if you would like. You can use the same one that we used last time if you want. Whatever works. But then that is it for our book. So similarly to our previous potion, if you want, you can snap these two book layers together, the spine and the pages. You can snap those two together, You can snap the text to it as well if you just want the book to all be on one layer, but then again, you can't edit it or anything after that, so then it's just kind of there. So go ahead and do that if you would like, or you can alternatively group the layers together like we did before. But go ahead and do that, and then we are going to add our vase on top with our flower in it. So the vase we're going to use symmetry on again, and we're going to move our symmetry line. So I'm not sure if that's something you've done before, but let's go ahead and add a new layer on our layer menu. We are going to drag it below our book layer. So we are going to kind of nestle our vase below our book so that the top line of the book can kind of cut off our vase wherever we place it. So now we're just going to move our symmetry line over. So we're going to go to our gear icon under canvas, click edit drawing guide, and just use this blue dot here to drag our line over. Just kind of place it roughly in the middle of our book, somewhere about there, and then go ahead and click done. Now we just want to go to our layer, and on our new layer here that we're working on underneath our book, click on it and turn on drawing assist so that we can use our symmetry. And we are going to grab the fourth color on the last row of our color palette, same monoline brush at 10%. And essentially our vase is going to be kind of like skinnier at the top, wider at the bottom, and kind of round at the bottom as well. So I'm just going to start here on the left of our line, up a ways here above our book, so slightly to the left of our center line. I'm just going to go draw down and then around like so. So that's going to be roughly the shape of it. I'll do it again a little faster, a couple times until I like the way it looks. So something kind of like this. So if I use my arrow tool and move it up a little bit, you'll see at the bottom, it does come together. If yours comes together kind of sloppily, that's okay because we can hide it below our book, but adjust it if you need to. But this is kind of the shape that I ended up with. Then at the top here, we are going to just start right in the middle. At the top, draw a nice oval shape, hold it down, touch your finger to the screen to kind of make it like perfectly horizontal. And then we do want it to kind of extend over our line a little bit on each side, like so, to give a nice like lip there. For our vase, I might click edit and just kind of bring it closer together so it's a little skinnier from top to bottom, like so. Then we will go ahead and fill everything in. So this is all on one layer here. So this is our vase. I'll click my arrow tool and I will just nestle it slightly under my book at the bottom there so it's sitting behind it to kind of cut off the bottom of our vase like so. And then we don't need to use symmetry anymore, so we can go ahead and turn that off now. So click the gear icon under canvas, click to turn off the drawing guide to get rid of our line. But then we do still on our layer menu under this layer need to click on it and turn off drawing assist. So there was still symmetry activated, so turn that off. Then we're going to do some shadows and highlights. So we will go to the space layer, click on it and turn on alpha lock. And we will grab our next color in line, the fifth one on the bottom row, slightly darker. And we will use our soft brush under the airbrushing category again. We'll keep the size at about 15%. And I'm just going to very lightly on the bottom right hand side add this darker color in, moving lightly towards the center to kind of blend it through. Then I will grab the lighter color, the third one on the bottom row, and again focus this kind of on the top left area. So I'll kind of do the whole top area and then just kind of the left side of the top part of the vase here, like so. And then we do want our lip to be darker, or pretty much our base color. So we'll go back to our fourth color on the last row and we'll switch back to our monoline brush again under the calligraphy tab. Zoom in on the top here, and I'm just going to essentially recover this whole top area with this base color because it got a little bit lighter when we did the highlight there. And then when we get to the bottom here, I'm just going to kind of follow this rounded shape, hold it down to get a nice round line there. to kind of still give that shape of our oval at the top. And then we want to take it a step further and add a darker oval inside. So grab our 5th color on the bottom row again, and we're just going to add another oval on the inside here. Hold it down, touch your finger to the screen to make it perfectly horizontal. Click the button at the top to edit it and just kind of maybe make it skinnier if you need to, or just kind of try to make it even all the way around where our other paint color is showing. So it's just kind of evenly spaced, and then go ahead and fill in with that darker color in the middle to essentially make the opening of our vase at the top. Okay, and then the last thing that we're going to add to this vase is a heart again in the middle. So we'll grab the 2nd color on the last row of our color palette, and again we'll just make one nice heart here in the middle. So you can draw a small one or a large one. You can freehand it, or if you are having trouble with that, you can go to your layer menu, click on this layer and turn on drawing assist again. And even though we can't see the line here, we can just draw a nice circle shape, hold it down, touch your finger to the screen to make it a perfect circle. Click the circle button at the top and just to edit it and just bring them together like so. Grab our pen tool on one of the sides here to start drawing a line towards the bottom. Hold it down. I made it slightly curved again. And then just edit it and make them meet at the bottom, and then go ahead and fill that in all the way to get a nice heart shape. Like so. Okay, and then that is it for our vase, so we can leave that alone. So now we'll move on to our flower. So we're going to keep it pretty simple, but we'll go to our layer menu, add a new layer above our vase layer, and we will grab the green color, which is the 6th one on the bottom row. Same monoline brush, we'll increase the size to maybe 50%. And I'm just going to start in the middle of the opening of the vase here and draw kind of a line out and curved to the left. Hold it down until it turns into a nice smooth line. Click the arc button if you want to edit it at all, like so. Click the arrow tool and just kind of place it nicely in your vase here in the middle, but then we do want to kind of extend it past the front lip of the vase a little bit, like so. Then we'll grab our eraser tool and we will erase everything where this main paint color is showing till we get to the darker color, and then we'll just kind of cut off our eraser there like so, so it just kind of blends in nicely there. Okay, we'll grab our brush again with our green color on this same layer, and we'll draw just a couple leaves sticking off, so just some curved lines like so. I'll just draw one there and one there and fill those in. And then now we will draw the actual rose portion. So we will add a new layer above our stem. We will grab the next color in line, the 7th one on the last row, the lighter of all of our red colors here that we're going to be using. And the first thing that we're going to do is just draw a nice curved line like so. Hold it down till it turns perfectly curved. Click edit to adjust it, and we're just going to place it kind of at the base of our stem here, and we just want our curve to be nice and smooth the whole way throughout. And then the curve is just kind of tilted, you know, slightly up and to the left here. Not like perfectly horizontal like a straight up and down line would connect these two, but just a little bit, you know, tilted up and to the left like so. Grab our pen tool again. At this top point, we are going to draw a curved line in towards the middle. Hold it down. Click the arc button to edit it, and just make sure it lines up nicely here. And then it meets a little further than halfway, like the halfway point would be about here. It meets up kind of closer to the left side. Then we're going to click our pen tool again and do the same thing on the other side, so then it will overlap with our previous one, like so. Again, hold it down till it turns perfectly smooth and edit it at the top if you need to. And then we will go ahead and fill that in. We'll go to our layer menu, we'll make a duplicate of this layer. So slide to the left and hit duplicate. We'll select the bottom one. We will grab the next color in line, the darker red that is 8th in line. Drag and drop to fill that in. Again, you won't see it on your screen yet because it's behind our other one, but on the layer menu, you can see it's a little darker. Click your arrow tool to select it and then drag it up a little bit. And then with uniform turned on, we're just going to make the whole thing a little bit smaller. And then just kind of poking out of the top a little bit like so. Then we're going to go to our layer menu and add a new layer, drag it below this layer that we just were on. So we should be right above our stem layer now. Grab our darkest red color, the 9th one on the last row. Same monoline brush, and we are just going to start inside this top little petal here, about halfway through. Start about there, behind our previous layer, and make a nice curved line out and down like so, meeting up with our other petal there. Click the edit button if you need to. I might make mine a little bit more shallow. Like so, and then just go ahead and grab your brush and just fill in that little bit to kind of just add this little, center to our rose. Okay, now we're going to go to our layer menu, add another new layer, drag it below this layer that we just created, so right above our stem layer again. Grab our previous color, the 8th one on the bottom row. This is the same color as this middle color here, and we're going to start at the top of this previous layer that we were on. Right there, draw another curved line going down towards the middle of this dark red little area that we created, so it kind of meets right in the middle there in a nice curved motion. Fill that in, and then do the same thing on the other side, a nice curved line towards the middle. Hold it down, click edit shape if you need to, and again it just kind of meets up nicely in the middle right there, and fill that in. So that kind of creates like the back petals. And then we're going to do the back petals of this lightest red color as well on a new layer. So add a new layer on your layer menu, drag it below the one we just created, so we'll be right above our stem again. And grab our previous lightest red color, the 7th one on the last row. And this time we're just going to draw one big line from this corner to this corner on our behind layer here. So draw a nice curved line all the way across behind it to the other side at the top here. Hold it down, click the arc button at the top to kind of adjust it so it meets up nicely at the top and bottom. And then fill in anything if there are any white spaces, but that just kind of connects the front to the back of our flower here so that it looks like it's, all the way around all of our petals. So now we can go to our layer menu and we can snap all of our petal layers together. Unless you need to make any adjustments, go ahead and do so. Otherwise, I'll snap them all together. Click the arrow tool, and then if you need to adjust it and place it on your stem anywhere else or adjust the rotation or anything, you can do so. I will place mine right about here on my stem like so. So now I will also go to my layer menu and I will snap it together with my stem layer. And then if you need to, you can adjust the size of this as well. So mine got a little big, so I'm just going to downsize it just a little bit on uniform. Make sure it's still sticking out of my vase nicely in the middle there. And we are going to move on now to our final steps, which is just adding the shadow and the light coming from the top corner. So we are going to first add the light, and we will do that on its own layer at the very bottom of our layer menu. So just add a new layer, drag it all the way to the bottom, like so. Grab the second color on the top row of our color palette, which is a little bit lighter than our background color, which was the first color. We are going to switch back to our soft brush under the airbrushing category. We're going to set it pretty high to about 30%. And we are just going to start in this top left corner here. And we're just going to lightly add this lighter color and just kind of, add a few. I'm just going to kind of have like a straight line almost right here from the middle to my shelf, have a straight line here from my middle of my top side here kind of to the end of my shelf here, and then just kind of all in the middle here in this top left corner. So then just kind of fading out as we get further away from our top left corner, like so. So we just kind of have a nice little highlight in this general area, blending in nicely with our background color. Okay, and then we're going to add a big shadow to everything, and we're going to do that all on its own layer. So it's going to be right above this layer that we're on now. So add a new layer. We're going to click on the N on this layer and drag it up to multiply. We are going to select the last color on the top row of our color palette, 7th in line, and we're going to use our same soft brush, but we're going to drop the size to maybe 10%. And the first thing that we're going to do is make a nice shadow for our shelf. So we are going to start in this on this bottom left corner of our shelf. Draw a line straight from this corner down to down to go off of our screen at the bottom. Hold it down until it turns into a perfectly straight line, and then click the line button and just kind of adjust it here so it lines up nicely. And then just kind of pick a good angle. I'll just kind of go with this one that kind of looks like it's coming straight from our top left corner. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side of the shelf. So this other side, draw a nice straight line, hold it down, going off the screen, click edit line, and just kind of try to match that same angle or something close to it. Then we'll go ahead and just kind of fill everything in the middle, pushing down pretty hard. So this whole area is just kind of filled in. Now when I get to the edges, I'm just going to kind of add a little bit more, just very, very lightly to just kind of blend it out a little bit better on both sides so it's not such a harsh line. Okay. Then we're going to drop our brush even further to like maybe 5%, and we're going to add shadows to everything else now. So let's go ahead and start with our book here. So I'm going to do a very similar thing, and I'm going to start on this top right corner of my book and just kind of make a nice little shadow coming from the top left corner. And then it only goes out a little ways, and then it'll go kind of straight up and down to kind of match the side of our book, like so. And then similarly for these objects, I am just going to kind of try to mirror their shape a little bit. So we'll kind of make it come off that oval, go down the side, go around this shape here, like so. And then same thing for our flower, and I might drop my size even further to like 3 or 4%, but I'm just going to kind of create a little shadow coming off my stem to behind my vase, kind of like a little around my leaf there, and then on the right side of the top of my rose. And then maybe a little bit on the bottom as well, like so. So all of our lights coming from the top left, and this is where our shadows would be. Okay, and then same thing for our love potion here. So I'll start kind of on the right side here by my cork, and I'll kind of mirror the shape of my cork, and then mirror the side of my bottle all the way down. And then down here, we'll just kind of have a big shadow underneath it to meet up with our book. So you know, that whole part would kind of be in shadow there. It wouldn't go back down and have like a teeny bit of light here. This whole thing would kind of block it right there. And then the biggest thing with our bottle is that it is see-through, and we have a shadow here. So we would also have a shadow inside. So we do need to fill in the inside of this as well, since we can see through our bottle to the shadow behind it. So I'll just kind of meet up nicely on the left side here with my bottle, maybe leaving a teeny bit of space that's not in shadow. So just the teeniest bit of space that's still like just white and untouched, because since our light is coming from the top left, there would maybe be a teeny bit on the left side that's unaffected. If you need to kind of fix anything up, you can switch to your eraser tool, and you can switch this also to the soft brush under the airbrushing category at a pretty small size, like 3%. And you can go back in with your eraser tool to help kind of clean anything up if you need to. So if you get too much at any point, you can go back in with that. You can switch back to your brush, kind of whatever works. So just until you get a nice, good shadow in the background that kind of mirrors all of our objects there. So with that step done, that completes our drawing today. So I hope you had fun. If you did, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more tutorials from me in the future. If you would like to share your drawing on Instagram, I would love to see it, so go ahead and post it and then tag me so that I can check it out. While you're there, go ahead and give me a follow so that you can see what I'm working on next. Thanks for watching!